January 1st holds a pretty cool significance in my life because it was 16 years ago on January 1st, 2004, that I decided to go on a low carb diet. Now, that day that I started, I remember it was this day 16 years ago. I was desperately driving all around trying to find a scale that would weigh me. And because I had no scale here, I think the highest the scale went here was 330 pounds. And it went error. I was like, E. And so then I started like driving around to different gyms, and a lot of the gyms, their max was like 350 pounds. So I'm thinking, okay, this is kind of wackadoodle. Finally found a Gold's Gym. And at the Gold's Gym, they had a scale that would go up to 500 pounds. So I thought, okay, I'm definitely not 500 pounds. And I step on the scale, and the first number I saw was a 4. And my heart just dropped, because in my mind, I never imagined I had gotten that big and gotten that heavy. But the reality of it's basically hit me pretty hard once I stepped on that scale, saw the 4, and went, oh my gosh. Like, what I knew was a problem was a bigger problem than I even realized. And for me, at the time, it was all about the weight and weight loss and making sure I lose weight. And that was kind of the focal point of everything I was doing, because that was the clear and present thing that needed to be dealt with. What I didn't know at the time, and what I have learned in the years since, is yes, the weight is important that you want to try to take care of, but more important is getting your metabolism fixed, getting your inflammation lower, making sure you're not exacerbating the things on the inside that would directly impact your health. So for me, I started it as a New Year's resolution, just like I had done millions of times before. The reason I chose low carb was I got a diet book for Christmas the couple weeks before, or 1 week before the New Year's Day in 2004. And that Christmas present was Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution. And I remember reading that book from cover to cover between Christmas and New Year's and thinking, man, this guy is whacked out of his mind. How in the world do you live without eating carbohydrates? How in the world are you supposed to eat saturated fat? This guy's a cardiologist, talking about Dr. Atkins, writing this book and telling people to eat the very thing we know is going to clog your arteries and give you a heart attack and die. All of the kind of conventional wisdom that we've all been taught our entire lives, I bought into before I read the Atkins book. So then after reading the Atkins book, I go, you know, none of this makes a damn bit of sense, but I'm going to try it. And I tried it starting January 1st, 2004. So again, those of you joining us late, 16 years today that I have been living La Vida low carb. And it was today, 16 years ago. I remember that I just was all in on keeping the carbs low. And I remember this day and the next couple of days after this, 16 years ago, was murder. Like those of you that have started low carb coming from a really crappy diet, you can definitely relate. So I was 410 pounds 16 years ago today. And I later did an analysis of my diet, of what kind of average carbohydrate intake I was consuming on a daily basis as part of my standard American diet. Hold on to your hats, you guys. When I started my journey, the leading up to it, my average carbohydrate gram intake, hold on, here it comes, 15 to 1600 grams of carbohydrate a day. I am not exaggerating, because I regularly would guzzle Coca-Cola after Coca-Cola after Coca-Cola after Coca-Cola to the tune of about 16 cans a day. I would eat whole boxes of Little Debbie snack cakes. I would go by McDonald's in the morning. They'd have the 2 for $2 sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. Then I would stop by the 7-Eleven and I would have the cinnamon bun or the soft cookies, and a big gulp, super big gulp, double gulp, whatever gulp I could stick down this pie hole. And so when I started doing an analysis of the number of grams of carbs, because at the time I didn't care, didn't have any idea. Now I do. And that awareness is what happened January 1st, 2004. What started it was that journey. So guys, that year I wrote a book. I don't ever show this book on camera because I am not very proud of it, but this is my very first book that I ever wrote. And it was all about kind of the weight loss journey. And it's a very hokey looking book. Again, I'm never writing a book like this ever again, but it was my first book that I did. And there is a part in the introduction here I want to read. As I look back on my life that began anew on January 1st, 2004, I will always remember that specific date as a significant life-changing mile marker that forever altered my future. It was on that fateful day that I was bound and determined to not only make losing weight my New Year's resolution that year, but also to make it my new life resolution once I lost it. Although I had tried many diets before, succeeding at weight loss on many of them, particularly failing to keep it off, somehow this time was going to be different. Little did I know just how incredibly different it would be. So when I wrote this book, it was all about weight loss, and that was kind of my focus, and that was October 2005 that book came out. So it was the October after I lost the weight in 2004. In the years that have followed, I have become more and more convinced that weight is not the primary purpose, that you should go low carb, keto, paleo, real food, whatever you're deciding to do, carnivore, whatever you're deciding to do. Weight loss is what the culture likes to put the focus on. What I think we need to put the focus on is metabolic health. And we're seeing that now more than ever before with this virus out there and the people that are succumbing to the virus. What is it that they're succumbing to? They're succumbing to the ramifications of poor metabolic health. So for me, when I started living La Vida Low Carb 16 years ago today, it was a weight loss journey. And now I realize that that's an incomplete picture. And I got a really nice comment, by the way, from a guy on Facebook just today. I'm going to show it on the screen on the main feed here. But he said, I've been eating an all-meat diet for over 3.5 years, which I learned from Sean Baker. I learned about you after beginning that journey, and what I take from your life is the value of passion and hard work. You don't look like the poster boy for keto, and I get a lot of comments to that effect. You don't have ripped abs, but you do have an incredible work output, a genuine desire to help people, and a passion for embracing your authentic self. Those things come through in everything that you do. We can all learn something from your example, and you're inspiring. So I was very grateful for that very kind comment. And in my heart of hearts over the years, where I have put on some weight again from that initial weight loss, like this is what I looked like when I lost the weight initially. And so obviously that was 16 years ago, but that's what I look like, or 15 years ago when I look like. And so for me, it's very easy to go down the trap of, well, I probably shouldn't talk about low carb anymore. I probably should not be out there with my voice anymore because I don't look the part. And I get it. I get it that people have that expectation that when you have a weight loss success story, I don't think anyone that hasn't put themselves out there after doing something like that, put themselves out there as a success story, I don't think you realize the pressure that comes from that. And a lot of you do. Some of you that watch my stuff, you are out there. You have made a social media channel. You have tried to make something of trying to educate and help inspire other people. But I've been doing this for a long time now. 15 years online, 16 years ago today, starting this diet. And I obviously had no idea what was going to hit me when I started writing about this stuff online. And by the way, there's a kind of a story there. So in November of 2004, after I'd lost a significant amount of weight, I did end up losing 180 pounds that year, but I think I'd lost about 160, 165. I heard from the Atkins company, hey, we heard you lost weight doing our diet. I said, yeah, a little bit. And so they featured me on the front of their website. And so I got a lot of interest from people that said, hey, where's your book? Where's your blog? And I had to do something with that. And of course, I'm a natural writer. I was not as natural a speaker then as I am now. Hard to believe, I know. Feels like I probably have talked since I came out of the womb, but I actually didn't learn to talk until I started podcasting and really kind of honing that craft. And so that's what got me into blogging and coming up with Livin' La Vida Low Carb as a moniker, and then all the other things that you now know me for. So, but like over the years, I've had these vacillations in my mind. Okay, you had a great success story. That's some of the lies I have told myself. You had a great success story. Your day has come and gone. Maybe it's time for you to get out of the way and let these other people that had real success stories keep the message going. And the more that I let my head go down that path, the more I realize that's robbing you guys of an opportunity to hear wisdom from somebody that's done this for a long time. Am I the perfect body type? Not even close. Am I somebody that demonstrates parts of living low carb, living keto, and living this lifestyle over a long term that maybe need to be seen? I sure think so. I think my energy levels, my ability to think and think quickly, the ability to communicate in easy to understand language, I think we all have gifts. And every time I kind of get that feeling of, all right, maybe my time has come and gone in this community, I always hearken back to those things. What would this community be like if I just disappeared forever? And I don't want to go away, quite frankly. And I don't plan on going away. I think I have too much left to talk about. And I feel like I'm just barely scratching the surface at some of the reasons why we still collectively, those of us that still kind of have weight on our bodies, some of the reasons why. And it goes well beyond diet. Like, I think we put so much emphasis on nutrition as kind of this sole savior when it comes to your weight that we neglect all the other things. We give pretty good lip service to movement as well. So basically, diet and exercise almost always get lots of lip service. What we don't get is dealing with stuff in your life, because stress is incredibly impactful in a negative way. And I've been very open this past year about some things that I'm going through personally in my life, on top of the virus, on top of everything else that's been in everybody's life. And it has such an impact on you that you don't even realize. So I feel like that's my value now, is being a thought leader, being an opinion maker, and sharing from my heart. Because quite frankly, a lot of the people in the low carb kind of keto space now, a bunch of shysters in there. I'm not going to point fingers. There's a lot of people, and you guys know this. I'm preaching to the choir with you guys. You follow me because you appreciate that I'm a real dude who is out here living this life. And really right now, I'm not making any money off of what I'm doing. I'm doing this for the love of it. There are some people out there that they're doing it for as many dollars as they can suck out of you as possible. Now, I'm not against capitalism. If somebody wants to make a buck off of doing something to help you, and they offer a good service and you're willing to pay for that service, go for it. But I do think there's a lot of greediness that has entered into the low carb, keto, and even some of the carnivore world that's going to be its demise. So I say all that to say that on this 16th anniversary of starting my low carb lifestyle change, I am so proud of the things I've been able to do